Hello everybody and welcome back to Seriously Ask, where you ask me questions, I answer them. Pretty simple, let's jump right in. Hey, when do you plan on bringing back Why Would You Put That on the Internet up? It's phrased weird, but I like it. Coming weeks on my channel, Zombie Horses, my comedy channel. It's been inactive for a while. Link is in the description though. Go subscribe to it because that's where Why Would You Put That on the Internet is coming back every Facepalm Friday. You haven't heard that from me in a while. Go subscribe to it now so you don't miss out. Trying to focus in on a date here, but it's been tough, but thank you for bearing with me, really. What do you do when you're not making YouTube vids? I try to type questions and like odd characters to make it hard for people to read. In reality though, I tend to read. I hang out with my friends. I do a little bit of writing, play video games, and that's really about it. But most of my time is taken up by making YouTube videos, so I don't have much time. It's a more than full-time job, so. But yeah, when I am not doing YouTube videos, I hang out with friends and stuff and video games and stuff. You can talk about paint drying on a wall and make it interesting. Seriously, dude. Well, thank you. What are you smoking, drinking, licking, frog or mushrooms, shooting into a vein? Okay, so let's run down the list. I have smoked marijuana before. I haven't smoked it in a very long time, so that's not it. Drinking, Long Island iced teas. Didn't have one today. Want to. Didn't. Haven't had one in a while because I'm not a raging alcoholic. And I wish I was a little more of an alcoholic. Like, I wish I took a little more of the, oh, you could drink. You know, I like, sometimes I go months without having anything, and which is great, which is fine. But, you know, I kind of, you know, it's once you get to my age, which sounds like I'm an old bastard, but once you get to, you know, almost 30, it's harder to get drunk and not be really sick after, I found. And that sucks. It used to be really easy when I was younger. I'm an old bastard now. In your opinion, do you think brain chemistry or upbringing has a greater impact on how a serial killer is made? So this is the old argument, nature versus nurture. Is it either the factors that are born inside of this person that make them into a serial killer, are those more crucial, or is it their upbringing from their parents more crucial? I personally am about nurture. Through all the killers I've studied, it's usually that they have a pretty shitty upbringing, but that's not always the case. I think there are a number of things to factor into. First of all, not all sociopaths are violent at all. Most aren't. Even a lot of psychopaths aren't, but you know, that doesn't mean they're great people. I think when you're beaten, a lot of people that are beaten when they're young or mistreated when they're young, they turn out to be great people too. But I think there's a much greater chance for some violence to occur down that path when you've received a violent upbringing or a careless upbringing. Also, if you really think about it, if you're born with like a mental condition that kind of puts you closer on the spectrum to murdering someone, if you have a loving family, they're probably going to do what they can to get you treatment, whether that be therapy, you know, whatever it may be. But if you don't have a good upbringing, then your chances are really slim. And sometimes you get a perfect storm. Richard Kuklinski, I believe, was a very good example of that. He was a guy who was born with a lot wrong with him from the get-go, but he was also abused really badly. So, and he turned out to be one of the most notorious murderers of all time. And he was completely careless, murdering people. It didn't make him feel anything, and that was something he loved exploring. So I really think that through all the ones that I've studied, most of the well-known ones anyway, but you're taking a sample out of all the killers when you take, you know, even well-known ones. Because I've done a lot of unknown or not so well-known ones as well. Usually it's a really shitty upbringing, so I think that factors in more than anything. And I think a lot of world's problems would be solved if the parents were just good people. Not going to mince words here. What is your view on the My Little Pony fandom? Don't ask, don't tell. If it wasn't for YouTube, what would you be doing and why? By the way, love the channel. Well, thank you. Well, I was a private investigator for a short time before I did YouTube. First, I ran a substation for a police department, and then I went on to work as a PI shortly thereafter. I was also a counselor for sex offenders, so yeah. But I did go on to do private investigation work for a short time under another PI's license because I didn't have my own license. I don't want anyone to confuse that. I never had my own license because it takes a long time to get your license. It takes a lot of dedication, which is why a lot of retired police officers go and get their license as a PI after they've, you know, retired. So yeah, that's a factor. But I'd probably be doing that, pursuing my license. I would have, if I worked hard enough, I would have already gotten it. But so yeah, I think that's probably what I would be doing. Just watched one of your Seriously Asked videos, and I just wanted to know how long it takes for you to actually research everything. All right, so a typical video takes, I'd say, a few days, anywhere between 2 and 5, 6 days. If you watch my Anatomy of Murder episode on the Robeson family, I wrote that entirely myself. Same with Massacre at McDonald's. Those took like 5 or 6 days to research because there's just so much information. I go through newspaper archives and everything and dig through. Really cool to see that history, but it is a lot of information. And yeah, trying to compile it into a video is not an easy thing all the time. But yeah, so hard to say exactly, but a few days. Did the families contact you when you did the episode of Unexplained Disappearances? I have never been contacted by a family member that I know of. They haven't emailed me, which is the best way to get in contact with me about that kind of thing. However, I've been reached out to by a number of people who have lost people who their family members have been murdered or have gone missing, and the media doesn't seem to give a shit. So, you know, they have other things to report on, whatever. So, yeah, that's been a kind of a thing I've considered doing, is starting a series. I've got a lot on my plate as it is, but I consider starting a series where we kind of help solve cases. We get the case in front of a lot more people, you know what I mean? Kind of like America's Most Wanted. And, you know, kind of doing that. I've thought about it. As I said, got a lot going on right now, so it's kind of difficult. But, and I'm not sure if I'd have enough material from people out there saying, like, listen, this happened to me, whatever. But I don't know. Maybe in the future, I'll do my best. If you like the idea, you know, let me know. We'll see what we can do. Congratulations! You have committed the perfect murder. What are your tactics, traits, looks, theme, and why? Okay, so I'm not going to answer most of that, but I will tell you a little story here. My professor in college for criminal justice was the former colonel of the Massachusetts State Police. And as our final assignment, or one of our final assignments, we had to murder him. So he said, I want you guys to murder me. So I pulled out my gun, you know, and he's just like, whoa, wait, figuratively, for a report. And I was like, oh, God, you. And so we had to plan out the perfect murder. And then he was going to have a specialist look over what we did and judge how well we did and if they think we were on the right track to getting away with it. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to tell you I got a good grade. I'm going to tell you that I did use ricin. I'm going to tell you that I never researched anything on my home computer. I'm also going to tell you that I never bought any ingredients that it takes from the same place anywhere near my house, even in the same state. So it required a lot of driving to get different components to make this happen. I never bought 2 items from the same store. And as I said, from the same state even, and always use cash and always look a bit different in each one. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say. But yeah, that's it. I'm not giving anyone any, no. And don't make ricin. It's very dangerous. Fools. And that's it for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. You can leave your questions in the comment section below. You don't have to use the hashtag SeriouslyAsk in the comment section below this video. It's kind of pointless. If you want to, go ahead. But if you're going to tweet it to me or use Instagram, take a selfie of yourself and ask a question, use the hashtag SeriouslyAsk so I can find you. And then be sure to press this video right here that's sliding out right there. That's my last episode. It's a sequel, 10 photos taken right before death, part 2. Yeah, the first one got like 17.5 million views. So this one, I don't think it's going to hit that much, but it's still 10 more photos that are just absolutely crazy to think about. Like, they died right after this photo was taken. They were alive right now, and now they're not. So you can press right here to go check that out. I have the annotation on screen of the thing that slid out, that little I button, or whatever it is now. I don't know what it is, but press that, check it out, love it, leave your love on it, and I will see you when I see you next time. All right. Take care, everyone.